The elevator stopped between floors with a soft, almost polite jolt. No alarms, no panic, just silence and the faint hum of a building that had decided to pause. She looked up from her phone at the exact moment he sighed, both realizing at the same time that this wasn't a quick delay. They were strangers 5 seconds ago, sharing nothing but a ride to different destinations. Now they were sharing space, time, and a sudden awareness of each other that felt sharper than it should have. At first, they did what people always do. Small jokes. Comments about technology failing at the worst moments. A shared glance at the emergency button that neither of them pressed right away. The light in the elevator was warm and unforgiving, revealing details you usually miss, the way his sleeve was rolled just enough to look intentional, the way she tucked her hair behind her ear when she laughed. Conversation shifted without effort, drifting from surface-level humor to something quieter. They talked about workdays that bled into nights, about how cities make you feel surrounded and alone at the same time. The walls felt closer, but not uncomfortable. Just intimate. Minutes passed. Then more. The air changed, not physically, but emotionally. Awareness settled in, the kind that makes you conscious of posture, breath, distance. They stood close enough now that movement would mean choice. Touch happened accidentally, or maybe not, a brush of fingers when the elevator shook again, a hand steadying the other's shoulder. No apologies followed. No retreat. Desire didn't rush in, it took its time, confident and unhurried. They talked about boundaries without naming them, reading reactions instead of asking questions out loud. It was subtle, controlled, mutual. The idea that nothing had to happen made the tension stronger, not weaker. When the elevator finally moved again, the sudden motion felt almost disruptive, like the interruption of a thought you weren't finished having. Floors passed quickly. Too quickly. When the doors opened, the world rushed back in, sound, space, direction. They stood there for a moment, neither stepping out. He asked if she wanted to continue the conversation somewhere less mechanical. She smiled, already knowing the answer. They left together, not because of what had happened, but because of what hadn't, the restraint, the curiosity, the shared understanding that connection doesn't need chaos to be intense. Later, she would think about that ride not as an inconvenience, but as a reminder. That desire can be quiet and deliberate. That attraction doesn't always announce itself with drama. Sometimes it waits, contained and confident, in a stopped elevator, asking only whether you're willing to notice it, and choose what comes next. They stepped out into the hallway together, the elevator doors closing behind them with a quiet finality that felt heavier than it should have. The building was calm, almost too ordinary compared to what had just happened in that small suspended space. For a moment, neither of them spoke. They walked side by side, not touching, but still very aware of each other's presence, as if the distance between them was deliberate rather than accidental. The silence wasn't awkward. It was charged, full of thoughts neither rushed to voice. They ended up outside without quite deciding to. The night air was cool, grounding, carrying the familiar sounds of the city, distant traffic, footsteps, muted conversations drifting from open windows. He suggested a short walk, nothing serious, just to let the moment settle. She agreed, curious to see whether what she felt would fade in open space or grow clearer. It didn't disappear. If anything, it became calmer, more defined. Without the closeness of the elevator, their connection felt less like tension and more like choice. They talked as they walked, not about the elevator at first, but about small things that revealed more than intended. About how rare it was to feel fully present with a stranger. About how moments like that didn't happen when you were looking for them. He admitted that the stillness had forced him to slow down in a way he usually avoided. She said she liked how nothing had been rushed, how desire didn't feel like pressure, just awareness. Saying it out loud didn't break the moment. It gave it shape. Eventually, they stopped near a quiet corner, the city lights softer there. He asked, directly but without expectation, if she wanted to see him again. Not tonight, not immediately, just at all. The question carried respect rather than urgency. She answered honestly, saying yes, because whatever this was felt intentional, not impulsive. They exchanged numbers, smiles lingering, both aware that something subtle had begun, something that didn't need to prove itself right away. When they finally parted, the goodbye was unremarkable in the best way. No dramatic pause, no forced closeness. Just a shared understanding that the elevator hadn't been the point, it had been the pause that allowed them to notice something real. Walking away, she felt steady, not restless. He felt clear, not unfinished. Sometimes, the most intense moments aren't the ones where everything happens, but the ones where you choose to let something continue, slowly, deliberately, beyond the place where it first appeared.